What's going on, y'all? I'm back again. Provcityproductions. Today I want to talk about a topic that I don't know if a lot of people have heard about it. It's called parapsychology. First of all, I just want to let y'all know that this is something that's described as like a pseudoscience. It's not respected in the scientific community based on the fact that there aren't a lot of ways to prove it. Now, you might be asking, why would we even talking about something that we can't prove? Because it's interesting. And once I break it down, a lot of y'all gonna understand why it's so interesting. So basically, first, let's define it. First of all, parapsychology is the scientific study of interactions between living organisms and their external environment that seem to transcend the known physical laws of nature. Parapsychology is a component of a broader study of consciousness and the mind. Parapsychologists study 5 broad areas: telepathy, clairvoyance or remote viewing, precognition, psychokinesis, or survival study. Now I'm gonna break down those 5 categories in a minute, but basically, even just based off the definition that I just gave you, you can see why a lot of real scientists don't believe in none of this. They think it's a bunch of bullshit, shit that's just made up, can't be proven. It's like a movie, just something to entertain people. It shouldn't even be misconstrued or be held in the same breath as real science. It's such things as like physics, chemistry, things that can be proven in a laboratory or research. And a lot of parapsychology is funded by, like, the research done in parapsychology is funded by private companies in different countries, because especially in America, they're just not rocking with it. I know a lot of people are interested in these topics. There's been a lot of movies made that touch on these things. And to be honest, those make for a lot of great movies, right? But before I go any further, let's break down the 5 categories. So first we have telepathy. A lot of y'all may have heard of that. That's mind-to-mind communication through a means other than the normal senses. Basically, my mind, imagine me and another person, and we're just looking at each other, and we're able to communicate without using words, without using gestures, or anything like that. Sound crazy? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but let's keep going. Precognition, knowledge of an event that has not yet occurred. Basically being able to tell the future. Info that appears to be transferred from the future to the present. You're able to speak to people from the future. Let's say somebody from the future is warning us about what's going to happen, and somebody's able to communicate with this future person and tell it to those of us in the present so that we could prevent whatever it is that they're trying to warn us from. Clairvoyance, knowledge of objects, people, or events that are hidden via space of time. Well, let me find an example for that. For example, an object hidden in a box in a different room, a photograph sealed in an envelope, an event that is occurring to a loved one who is thousands of miles away, or the characteristics of a room that only existed in the past. Basically being able to see things that aren't there. Let's say a family member's gonna get into a car crash that lives 3,000 miles away, and you're able to see that without being physically present. Psychokinesis, one of my favorites. Mind interacting with matter at a distance. I don't know if a lot of y'all, if you've seen this movie, it's called Firestarter. It's one of my favorite movies. Basically about this girl and her father who could create fire with their mind. They could look at something and it would just burst into flames. Also, they could take it, just using their mind, make it like literally just throw it at somebody. So they could, let's say they looked at a microwave. It'll burst into flames, turn into a fireball, then they could literally hurl it at people. You know what I'm saying? Or they just look at somebody, put their hand up, it was burning buildings down. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. So, I would say that was the first movie that I seen that dealt with parapsychology. A great movie. If you go see it, check it out. It's part 1 and part 2. It's called Firestarter. Great movie, trust me. What else? We got survival studies. And that breaks down the nature of human consciousness, an examination of whether consciousness survives the physical form. So once we die, are we still conscious of who we are, what we've done in the past, our past lives, so on and so forth. This includes medium research, reincarnation, out-of-body experiences, also near-death experiences, apparitions, and ghost activity. Now that's the part where I know a lot of y'all gonna get interested, because I know a lot of people believe in ghosts. Me personally, ghosts specifically, I never was one to really, I thought it was always people's minds messing with them. I don't know. My sister claims she's seen ghosts, or she's seen, usually when somebody dies, they say that ghost hovers around the house or some area. A lot of them maybe have unfinished business. I kind of hover back and forth. It's times where I believe it, and it's times where I don't. These are just one of the days where I'm a little bit more of a believer than that. What is it? Reincarnation, basically dying, coming back to another, So basically, a lot of people believe in past lives. They believe that they was great people. And I could definitely say, when I read through history about certain people, that I just happened to stumble across, their lives is very parallel to mine. From the things that they did, from the way their personalities are. I don't know, I might have been here a few times with a different name as a different person. I mean, a lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people think it's bullshit, but I don't know, man. Like I said, who knows? There's a lot of, one thing that I know about, there's a lot of things we do know through science and study, research, all that, but there's also a lot of things we don't know. There's a lot of things that happen people don't understand. You know, people die and come back and they have stories to tell. There's things that happen that scientists, doctors just can't explain. That just tells me that if there's things that those scientists and doctors can't explain, or the professional people who work in that area of study can't explain, then how can you disprove something like parapsychology? You really don't know, do you? You know, and I understand parapsychologists, they can't necessarily prove what they do either, but I mean, there's a lot of stories all across the world about some of the oddest things. I think it's just something to look into. I don't count anything out. I don't just say, well, that's bullshit, we shouldn't look into it. I at least think we should look into it, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you hear a lot of things. You hear a lot of things. People claim they see things that, you know, they'll swear upon God himself. You know, I seen this spirit. And, you know, me, myself, I might have been visited by spirits a few times. You know what I'm saying? Again, I know it's damn near crazy to believe. I sound crazy. Trust me. Again, I go back and forth. So there's times where somebody say some shit, I'm like, man, that's some bullshit. There's other times where things happen and I try to find a way to explain it. And I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Is my mind playing tricks on me? Am I going crazy? Do I need to maybe go see a shrink or something? But like I say, there's a lot of weird things going on. And there's a lot of things people can't explain. And when people can't explain things, they either try to ignore it or just brush it off. So, you know, and there's a lot of movies that delve on this. I remember one movie called The Hereafter with like Matt Damon. And it was about people who they went through like near-death experiences. And, you know, they would communicate with dead people. There was one guy was it a woman? They was communicating with dead people. Matt Damon could touch somebody's hands and look into their past and, you know, see things that weren't there. Clairvoyance, I believe it is. That's another great movie to check out. Firestarter, The Hereafter. You know, those are just two movies. There's a bunch of movies on things like that. There's also Hypnosis. You know, a lot of people heard of that. I think people are a lot more open to hypnosis than these other things. You know, Get Out is just another movie that dealt with hypnosis. So, you know, there's a lot of things. I feel like there's a lot of things people put in movies that they probably wouldn't be comfortable saying out loud or to other people because they know how crazy they would sound. Anyway, I'm definitely going to do a lot more on parapsychology, delving into people who believe in it, people who've had, you know, if I could find somebody, if y'all out there have dealt with certain things, ghosts, apparitions, if you feel like you have clairvoyance, telepathy, precognition, you know, you believe in reincarnation, apparitions, you know, drop a comment and let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on in this world. But anyway, it's definitely a topic that I'm very interested in. You know, I know a lot of other people interested in because, you know, this regular world, this normal world, the physical world, it gets real boring at times. And you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm open to anything. I'm open to looking into it. I mean, like I said, for those people who don't believe in it, I say this. If you don't believe it, you don't think it's real, what's the harm in looking at it? Who knows? Yeah, that's all for now. We definitely gonna get into this again. All right? So, like I say, it's just my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.